sat on, not even at the desk, but on my bed with my notepad, and I wrote this out, and I said, I wonder how this would work, and I wonder if it's a good idea. I don't know if it's a good idea. It seems like kind of a fun thing to me. Does it exist? Probably. Can we do it better? Maybe. So I sat Lori down and I said, what do you think about this idea? And she said, yeah, I think that sounds cool. We got back to Saskatoon. I have a friend that owns a software company. I called him up and I said, I need you to sign this. And it was a non-disclosure agreement. And he kind of trusts me, so he went, okay. So he signed it, and I spent 4 hours fleshing this idea out with him. And I said, and he's a very smart guy. He's someone that I respect. And I said, what do you think? And before we even talked, he warned me. He said, Dennis, I get probably 100 people a year coming to me with the next big idea. I'm very critical, and I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm going to tell you what I think. And I said, no, that's what I want. Like, I want you to be critical. I want you to tell me if I'm just completely off my wall here. So I explained it to him, and he said, you know what, I think this has got a lot of potential, a lot of opportunity. So I engaged his company at that point. We started building it. We made a decision to build it for iPhone first, because within the US, at that time, our understanding was iPhone was the biggest market. I think that's still true, although Android is absolutely coming on strong. So we started coding it. Basically, there were 3 people involved. There was myself, just sort of from an idea perspective. There was Lori from an involvement in how are people going to react and how are they going to use it. What are the realities, the day-to-day realities of using this app? And then there was Dean from the technical perspective of, okay, what can we build? How do we do it? How do we overcome some of the things that we've seen with other people? And we, and we realized from very early on that this is, and someone said it to me last night, I believe it was Alex, said this is very much like the fax machine. It's a great invention, but it does you no good if nobody else has a fax machine. And that's very true with TapItSocial. It's a great little thing, and it's kind of fun and so on, but it's not very fun if there's me and Lori and Craig on it and nobody else. I mean, you know, the 3 of us can chat, but we can do that through other means. Where it turns fun, and where we've done some experimenting with this in Canada, is when you get a group of 20 or 50 or 100 or more people that are all together in one place, where it's difficult to, you know, socialize with everybody in that room. And we talked about it earlier about finding common interests and those sorts of things. When we do it in that environment, it changes. It metamorphosizes into something that is more exciting and more fun. So the problem that we knew that we were going to have from very early on was, okay, how do we spread this in as fast a fashion as we possibly can? So one of the things, and when I said to Sean earlier that I believe that free is an element of this new paradigm shift, that was one of the decisions that we made, right? Well, we want to make this be free. Go to places like this and talk to people and say, you know, what do you want it to do? Like, what do you think would be cool? What would enhance this experience for you? What would make you use this instead of Twitter? Or in addition to Twitter, or in addition to Facebook, or in combination with all of those sorts of things. That's very much how I like to work. I want, and as I said at the beginning, I wanted to do something that was fun, and this has been pretty fun so far, and I'm getting the distinct impression that it's going to become more fun as I saw Sebastian tweet about I need a beer, and I saw John at the back tweet about we're going somewhere tonight, Blue Piano or something. I love how my social calendar gets filled and I don't have to do anything other than show up and sometimes pay. So that's a little bit about TapItSocial and sort of how it came to be. We are very, very, very new. We launched it, I think today is 4 weeks. I'm not even sure if it's 4. We might be
I think 3 weeks.
I think it's 3 weeks. So we're brand new. I knew that we had to get this out onto a lot of people's phones as fast as possible. And so obviously social media marketing was going to be a piece of that. I am not anywhere near being an expert in social media. I can barely get on Twitter and say something without upsetting someone, and Lori does a lot of it, but we thought, you know what, we need somebody that has some expertise on this, and more importantly, I think from my perspective, was we needed somebody that had an appropriate geographical location. And I had sort of always thought that was going to be Las Vegas, because I live in Las Vegas part of the year. I love Las Vegas. It's kind of the party capital of the world. I mean, everybody comes there and wants to go out and meet people and have fun and do crazy things and end up on that Las Vegas Talks show, which is probably where you don't want to end up on. But that didn't happen. I went on Twitter. I set up my own account on Twitter, and I started just talking about being the guy that sort of invented this thing. And I got a message from Steve, and he told me a little bit about what he did, and we talked and we went back and forth. And I come back to those two words that I started this presentation with, trust and respect. And I don't know exactly how it works, but I trusted him pretty quickly. And I know that I needed to earn his trust as well. And so one of the ways we did that was I said, okay, well, you tell me what your fee is and it'll be in your bank account tomorrow. And that's how we build that, right? And I never met Steve until yesterday, but I feel like I've known him quite a long time. I think he gets me and gets how I want things done. I am somebody I hold, going back to the investigative side of my business, that entire business rests on my credibility. I can't go into court on behalf of a client and testify on their behalf if opposing counsel can come out and destroy my credibility with one question. So I would rather do things like, I had engaged a person to do some social media before I had engaged Steve, and it just basically, the relationship didn't work out. I just paid him what I said I was going to pay him, as opposed to him being upset. I mean, I probably could have made the argument, you know what, you didn't really do what I needed you to do. But I didn't want to leave him. I mean, he's not a bad guy. It's just that things didn't quite work out timing-wise. So those things are important. Respect and trust is critical in social media, and I think that we're seeing that, and we've certainly seen it in the relationship that we've built so far. I don't operate the way that I'm seeing some companies or some people, I guess, operate in what I refer to as the app economy. I see a lot of applications for Apple and for the BlackBerry and stuff where it is quite obvious to me that somebody has built something, put it up there, and essentially forgotten about it. And they hope for the best, and if they make some reputation off of it, great. If they make some money off of it, even better. We take very much a business approach to it. So we sat down and I wrote out a business plan. And I said, okay, how can we do this? And my number one goal is to have fun. So if we don't make money, we don't make money. But ideally, I wouldn't at least mind making my investment back. If it makes more money, that's even better. So what's the business plan? So I've developed a 3-phase business plan that has very distinct goals in each one. We're in phase 1 right now, and we're starting to reach some of those goals. I'll talk a little bit about phase 2. So one of the things, coming back having fun, that I wanted to do with this app, because we've built it in such a way that we've got a pretty good foundation on things that we can do. So we have the ability for people to socialize within a certain proximity of one another. So on top of that, and today will be, I think, the first time I'm talking about this publicly, but we're building a game that is going to build on top of this thing. I'm going to feel a little silly talking about this because this is a little bit older crowd. When I talk to university students, they get quite excited. But we built a game that we call tentatively right now, Humans versus Zombies. So it is a game where it's very much like geotag, if you've seen that on the app, but it has a complete flavor and story and background to it, where people go on this app, they go on the app, they can choose to play this game. That kind of segregates them out from other people on the app, and they get to choose whether they are a human or a zombie. And suddenly it turns into a worldwide game of tag, essentially. So no matter where you are, if you're traveling, if you're in an airport, if you're logged on and you're saying, yeah, I'm active in the game, you're fair game. So somebody might come up to you, some complete stranger might come up to you and take your picture, and now you've been tagged. And so they score points that way. Vice versa, you could be sitting in an airport and, well, I'm bored out of my skull, and there's nobody around that really wants to chat, so I'm gonna log on to that game, log on to it, and oh, I see that somewhere in the airport there is somebody else who is a target of mine. So now I can go and find them and try to tag them and score points and so on. That is a very low-level sort of description of this, but it's something that we're working on because I think it enhances the funness of the application and makes things, yes?